So how much house can you get for around $200,000 in Texas? Let's real estate shop together and find out. Hey, so I am Sarah, also known as Budget Girl around these parts, and I have been shopping for some real estate in Texas for about the last 8 months and been saving for about the past year. Now, this is kind of the next step in my personal financial journey. If you haven't visited me before, hello. I paid off $33,000 worth of student loan debt when I was making just $26,000 a year in 3 years, a few years back. And then after that, I saved up a big honkin' emergency fund. And now the next step in my financial journey is purchasing a house, but not just any house, a multifamily property so that I can house hack it, aka live in one side, rent out the other, use the renting income to pay a majority of my mortgage. So I'm trying to get into landlording and another stream of income, and I'm also just trying to live my best financial life and stop renting over here. It's been a long time and I love renting, but it's coming up. So I'm going to show you today some of basically the housing market in College Station in Bryan, Texas. And if you don't know what that is, College Station is about halfway between Austin and Houston in the big wide state of Texas and just below Dallas. So about 3 hours south of Dallas, 2 hours east of Austin, and an hour and a half west of Houston. That is our location. It is a mid-sized Texas city. College Station has about 107,000 people in it. Most of those are students attending Texas A&M where I work. And then right next door to College Station, a sister city, is Bryan, Texas. So we're gonna look in both of those since they are right up on each other and the college is kind of right on the border between them, and they're very much considered a unit. There are about 80,000 people in Bryan. Together, this is about 200,000-ish area population. It's not as big as Houston or Austin, where prices are of course going to be a lot bigger, but it has all the amenities and options of a bigger city, which is really, really nice. And of course, lines to Houston and Austin. We have, of course, the university here. We have a big hospital here. There's a lot of opportunity to work and rent. So it's just a really nice growth area that was kind of one of the perfect places that I saw to live when I was considering moving and starting this stage of my life. A couple things about College Station and Bryan. The median age is 22, and that's because a huge portion of the population in College Station is college students attending A&M. And that's also why the poverty rate says 31%. That's really not accurate at all. Our poverty rate's probably more accurately a lot lower. The college students living here are not necessarily making a ton of money. So now the other stats on here are probably close to right. Median household income about $40,000, though that might be skewed because of the college students, and the median property value shouldn't be skewed, about $200,000, which just happens to be the price range for a home that I am looking for. Now, I am specifically looking for a duplex, triplex, or quadplex within my price range, and the price range of real estate here varies wildly, and we're going to look through some of it. For instance, let's just look on the map here for Bryan. You can actually see some of the numbers on the screen. I see units for, most of these are single family houses, of course. We're just on Zillow for 162,000, 200,000. There's a huge disparity in property. There are some mega homes and some super luxury places for the super rich college kids that come in, or the really wealthy people in town. And then there's a lot of the middle class housing, which is kind of what I'm buying in. In College Station, similar spread. Prices do tend to be just a little higher, and taxes are also a lot higher if you're on the College Station side. So that's something I'm really considering as I am looking at homes here. First house I'm going to show you is actually a foreclosure. There are not a lot of foreclosures here at all, which is very cool. But I just want to show you right off the bat, for $81,000 in Bryan, Texas, you can get a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,200 square foot home for $81,000. Now, it does need some work. Feel free to be just mad at me for living in a place like this from wherever your insane housing costs are. I'm sorry. I don't control it. I'm just taking advantage of it. So as you can see, this is a nice fixer-upper place. $81,000. You cannot beat that. I'm not buying that home. Non-foreclosure, you can also get a home. This is a 2-bed, 1-bath for 864 square feet for $79,500. It's a little smaller, and this is also in Bryan, but I mean, you can get a yard. You got this is the house for what I'm sure you can't rent a closet for in New York or Los Angeles. I just want to kind of show you the bottom there. A little bit higher, you can actually buy a really decent house for $100,000. This is what you can get. It's a 2-bed, 2-bath kind of condo. I think there's probably an HOA fee on this, but it's pretty huge. There's like a pool nearby, I saw. I mean, it's a pretty big place. Big yard. For $150,000, you can get something marginally bigger. 3-bed, 2-bath, 1-car garage, fenced backyard. Pretty nice. And I actually know this area. It is actually very nice. And as you can see, like these are really nice homes. But I'm not shopping for a single family. I'm shopping for a multifamily. So just a couple more here just to show you kind of the range. For $226,000 in Bryan, you can get something obviously a little nicer. For $250,000, a little nicer, 4-bed, 3-bath, 3,000 square feet. And then we have a decent amount of rich people here. And in Bryan, there's a 4-bed, 3-bath, 3,500 square feet place for $435,000. And as you can see, this place is swank as heck. And in College Station, similar 3-bed, 3-bath, almost 300,000 square feet, 3 acres. This is kind of what you can expect in middle America, Texas. It's gorgeous. It's 1,000 miles out of my price range, but that's what we are. So let's look at some stuff that maybe is closer to my price range. I did want to show you guys a couple things over here. So once you narrow down to multifamily, it gets a lot smaller. Not because there aren't a ton of multifamily properties here. Like I said, huge rental market in College Station and Bryan. It's just they don't go up for sale that often. I've been looking for 8 months, actually going and looking at houses, and it's rare for them to go up on the market. 165 to I'd say $600,000 range. Obviously there's only part of that I can afford. This is 150, which is the lowest one that I could find multifamily. There was one recently that I think actually sold that there was like a big old crack in the roof. Inside you could see it, and it was like it's selling as is, and that it was a gorgeous place, but I was like, that screams foundation work to me. So this is I think it's probably 2-bed, 1-bath, which is generally what you can find for about this price range. There's also a really weird power pole in the backyard. This looks like it's on kind of a corner plot of land, but it's a decent sized home and $150,000. It would need some renovations, but technically you could live in there. And that's kind of what I was thinking I could probably afford, is something that was built in like the 80s, $200,000 range, 2-bed, 1-bath, but just trying to see how much I could get for about that money. This place is also $164,000, 2-bed, 1-bath. And I was really hoping to find like a 2-bed, 2-bath. This is the weirdest kitchen. Look how tight that fridge is. But a nice long home, not a ton of windows, but that's fine. $165,000. Needs a coat of paint, weird backyard. 1978. The insulation is probably not great, which is another thing you see with a bunch of these homes. But what I really enjoy about Zillow is you can actually see a lot of the rental listings on here. This probably rents for about $550, $600 a month per each side. So I'm balancing how much I can get for renting, how much I might need to upgrade, fix stuff, that kind of stuff. So this is another cute one in College Station, $200,000, 2-bed, 1-bath. This one says it can generate up to $1,450 per month. So like I said, rents are in the $675, $700 range on some of these, some a little higher, some a little lower. For $200,000, you're probably looking at, according to Zillow's estimate, and I've run some of these too, you're looking at about $1,200 a month for that. So I could almost cover you on the total rental if you were renting out both sides, or that would cover you for that one. Not much room for incidentals, but you get the margins here. So this house I actually looked at, it is $226,000, and one side is renovated and one side is not, and it is so close to the university. There are a few apartments and duplexes that are really close to the university that are selling, that are like nothing burgers, but because they're so close, they're selling for $500,000, which is insane. And they're pretty much expecting people to come in, bulldoze the house, and build kind of an Aggie condo type situation, and that's fine. But I cannot afford to be that close. This place, however, is pretty dang close, which was its main selling point to me. And I really liked this place. It was top of my list. So this side is renovated with like nice floors, everything like that. They didn't kind of finish the kitchen, but decent size. Once again, 2-bed, 1 bath. If you're renting to multiple people, that's not really ideal. There's no yard here. It's a covered parking lot in the back next to a big apartment complex. But I did really, really like this place. And for $225, I thought that was a really good deal. This place I actually almost missed because it was, it was split up. Someone actually sent this to me. So they listed each side separately. It's a 2-bed, 2-bath, which piqued my interest. And it looks pretty nice, but when I went to see it, it was very petite, and it was right next to kind of a very busy road that had more traffic than it really had the capacity to. This side looks much nicer than the other side, which is the one that I looked at. I don't know if you can tell, the rooms are a little small, needs to be renovated. Each side was listed separately at $132, which would make it $264 combined, which is a little high, and it was a little small. So the pictures are of the side that I didn't see, but the side that I saw was lived in by some bros. Didn't film any of me going into anyone's home where it was occupied at all. I'm not going to do that, but it was petite, a little smaller than I thought was worth it. And this is the other side. I also want to show you this one because I saw it. This is not what I was looking for, but this is also in the $220,000 range. This is a 4-bed, 5-bath kind of luxury condo. Now it's only one house, so you couldn't house hack it, but this was built intending to rent to like 4 college students, and it's pretty nice. And I just wanted to show it because it was in the range, and it says it's currently rented for $2,000 a month. And then if you get a little higher above my price range, this is $289, super close to campus. Like I said, the more expensive, closer to campus you get. 2,600 square feet, I think, yeah, 3-bedroom, each with their own bathroom. So 3-bed, 3-bath for $290,000. Let's go into some kind of more fun ones because I did want to show you real quick what you could get for a lot more money here. So this is a 5-unit building for $1,500,000. We're not even gonna look at it. We're just gonna drool. And this was a 4-bed, 4.5-bath duplex right next to the college. $700,000. But this is much more of like the luxury that a lot of people see. I can't afford that. I don't hate it. Maybe one day I can afford luxury housing. I actually think I would rather have just kind of nice middle income places because then I'll always be able to find a tenant. 4-bed, 3-bath. $565,000, and it rents for $4,400 a month. 10-bedroom, 8-bath homeplex, 5.4 on each side. Oh God, I would hate dealing with the contracts on that. God, those must be insane. 5 bedrooms, at least 5 people sharing one common space. I don't think you could pay me to do that because it's probably going to end up being like a group of friends that end up like, at least that's what one would assume. Maybe not. So we saw the kind of homes that I can afford and I can. Let's move on to the tri and quadplexes because I did see some of these. We saw the full breadth and depth of duplexes. Now I did want to show you this. Like I said, not a ton. Now there are a ton of quadplexes here. Real quick, one home that I looked at, this was actually the first home I looked at when I was touring, and it's now sold, but this is a triplex that had like a really old roof and some issues, and it was for sale for like $240, and it was the very first home I saw, so I wasn't quite ready yet, but the rents were pretty good for the fact that it was 3, and I liked the idea of 3. This is a quadplex that was for sale that has since sold that I went and looked at. It was pretty good. The area wasn't the best, but rents were pretty decent. I think it was $700 each. It was built in '77. It did need some work. Not really showing me the pictures anymore. It doesn't look like much from the outside, but it could have been a good option. This is one I saw really recently. So the area around where this is very nice, but the street that this one is on, this quadplex, is not. This one was actually a 2-floor quad. It was really kind of interesting. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, and so they both had 2 floors instead of half being on the top floor and half being on the bottom. The pictures don't quite do them justice. They were a little cramped, and they felt really old. That I was willing to overlook, kind of the culture of the neighborhood. I was fairly serious about this one. I was actually able to speak to one of the other people that owned some of these properties. Like I said, there were 8 on one street, and he said that most of his tenants were HUD, and so he was actually getting the majority of his money from the government for their housing, and it was very low income housing, which don't have a problem with that at all. Don't have a problem with government assistance, but I do know that lower income housing people don't generally take as good care of their homes. I have lived in not official low income housing, but I've lived in cheap ass housing, and I took really good care of my place, and I understand a ton of people probably do, but when you're not paying the majority of your rent, I don't think you're incentivized to really take care of the place. Just an opinion. I was not willing to purchase this property for that reason. It was $280,000. In the original listings, it was built in 1980. It showed that, I think they've amended it, that complained that it was like $600 each for the apartments. It was probably less. So it would have been a big pain as far as management of the other 3 units, making sure that they paid their portion if they were HUD, and just the whole culture of the neighborhood. I wasn't the biggest fan of. It was just kind of low rent. All right, here's some other quadplexes that are in just slightly higher end areas. 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 4-plex for $350,000, which is outside of what I was willing to pay. This is not close to the university at all. It says it's close to the shuttle. So, but these look a little nicer. This is very close to the university, so that's why it's $600,000 and not that impressive. This is definitely student housing. You're not going to get non-students in here, but it looks fine. It looks fairly well kept up. I just want to show you something that was banana pants. $1,600,000. These are very nice in my wildest dreams, but very nice apartments. I don't know what they're renting for. I wonder if they say. Oh, it's 16 units. That's why. I'm sorry. I thought it was a quadplex. It just said, 212 to 218 A through D. So that's probably a slightly better deal, but still out of my price range. So that's pretty much what you can get for your money in College Station in Bryan, Texas, and what you can get for around $200,000. I hope you enjoyed kind of seeing what research I've done into my area and what kind of price comparisons I made, and trying to figure out what I could get for my budget in this area over the last 6 to 8 months. And yeah, I feel like I'm pretty well prepared to purchase in this market. None of the homes that I have shown on the screen are ones that I am considering anymore, because I didn't want to release a video showing the address of anything I wanted to purchase. But there were some really good options in there, especially the one in University Oaks. If you would like to hear more about my home buying journey, I would love it if you subscribe to this channel, because I do have some more videos planned on that. I am getting pretty serious about actually taking the next step and putting in an offer on a home or buying a home. It will likely be a duplex in the around $200,000 range. I am pre-qualified for that. I have worked with a lender to get some quotes, and yeah, I'm very excited. Leave your questions below. I am happy to answer those. I'm more than willing to be completely upfront and honest about this whole home buying process, what I am doing, what I am deciding not to do. For instance, to get out of debt, I follow the Dave Ramsey plan, and he recommends a 15-year fixed mortgage and to make sure to put 20% down. And I'm not necessarily going to do that. Mostly the reasons that I'm purchasing a duplex is going to be an investment property and not necessarily a forever home kind of situation. I do plan on paying it off early, paying more to the principal than is due, and also beefing up a giant emergency fund for in case I ever have a situation where the renter doesn't pay or something goes wrong with the place. So I am very kind of risk averse. Follow me if you want to see me be terrified about getting back into debt again, but also really prepared. I'll see you guys next time.